Hello everybody, welcome to Driving Through Life, brought to you by Lost Socket Garage. Today is going to be another day working on the truck. We're at part 3 on the series. Today's agenda, we're going to make her look just a little bit more pretty. Stay tuned. All right, today on Driving Through Life, we continue our journey working on the truck. Part 3 of our series. Part 1 and 2, go check it out if you haven't. Part 1, we taught you how to debadge the truck, took all the ugly badges off. Part 2, we went ahead and threw on these fender flares that you see in the back. We went ahead and rhino lined them and mounted them, and it was cold as balls then. And guess what? It is cold as balls now in the garage. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to be putting on our new headlights. These are nice and shiny and chrome, and I hate chrome. So we're going to make all that darker. Tail lights are actually going to be pretty close to stock tail lights. They're just a shade darker. I don't like really dark tail lights. Number 1, they're illegal. Number 2, I think that ever stopped me before. Number 2, they're just really hard to see, and I don't run LED lights a lot as far as tail lights are concerned. So just a little bit darker, make it look a little bit sleeker. I'm trying to pull this whole look together with all the dark highlights and the emblems. The emblems right there. That's pretty, isn't it? So awesome. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's show you what we're throwing on today. So first and foremost, for the tail lights, like I said, they're going to look pretty stock, except they're just about a shade or 2 darker. It's just going to kind of darken the tail end of the truck a little bit. The headlights is where you're going to see the biggest difference, as we saw earlier. Let me actually pull this out and show you a little bit of a comparison. Oh, giggity. So light's a little rough on this one because I'm using a shop light, but as you can see, the stock ones, it's all chrome. It's nice and shiny. It's just not my gig. So this is going to be a blacked out housing. Can't talk today. We're actually going to maintain all of the stock bulbs and everything like that. So these are not going to be a halo projector bulb. So I'm not upgrading to that or anything like that, but the housing is going to make it a little bit darker. So we're actually going to get started on the tail lights because that's a really simple process. Hello. First step to take when you're installing something, typically what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the new part and see exactly where the mounting points are going to be. I know that if I take the tailgate down, I know that I can see these screws automatically. Let me get you a little close-up shot. There's also 2 tabs right here that look like they actually have a bolt in them. So I kind of have a good idea of what to expect getting into the install. So let's open the back of the truck and see what's up. So I have my tail light here, and well, that's not a tail light, that's an exhaust system. I'll tell you what, guys, I'll give you a little sneak preview. If you guys can tell me what exhaust this goes to, I'll be very impressed, but it's going on our next project car. Okay, so this is my left tail light. Let's give you a little bit of a look. Try to stand it up. You can see it's a little bit darker, just a little bit. This is the correct tail light. So what I'm looking for here is this is my mount. These 2 are my mounting points. I'm just going to line that up and say, hey, there's 2 torque screws right there. So we're just going to take those out. Tail light should pop right out. Okay, we took those 2 screws out and the light basically fell out. So we're just going to take these connectors out right here. Got a tab for that one. There's another one for the, looks like turn signal at the bottom. It was only held in by these 2 screws. They're little torque screws. I'll give you a good idea. Little torque screws. And then, like I was thinking, there are little tabs on the backside that this part of the taillight actually just slides straight into it. So we're going to go ahead and unhook these lights, hook up the new taillight, and we'll take a look. One thing of note is the large clip on the top. If your clip, and this goes for a lot of different electrical connectors, they'll have like a little, they'll have the tab here that we're all kind of used to pinch in and hit it with a screwdriver and then just pulling it off, right? This one actually has an additional clip, this red one. Just need to push that up with a flathead screwdriver so that it unlocks, and then you'll be able to push this tab and it'll come right off. Yeah, so I think these are looking way better. Done both sides, literally took, if I wasn't filming, it would have taken like 10 minutes. These actually already came with bulbs in them. Make sure you check if you get these aftermarket taillights. Yeah, we're all done here. So we're actually gonna move to the front of the car where we're gonna do the headlights, which I have a feeling it's not gonna take 10 minutes. So we're gonna get started. So after taking a look at the mounting points, I'll show you the mounting points on the headlight real quick, on the new headlight. Let's see here. Looks like we're gonna have one bolt there, one bolt on the bottom. This is typically, that little metal piece is typically where it's going to snap into like a cradle, like a little holder. And that's about it. Some of the screws are for like aiming the headlight and stuff like that. But what I noticed here is that most cars don't have this. So I'm kind of excited about this. Is a lot of times you're gonna have to take off the fender well to actually access the back of the headlight. But right here, there's a little trap door. They thought of everything. So you can see there's a little tab. So we're gonna take our screwdriver, or if you're smarter than me, you have a tab removal. We're gonna pop that out and access the back of the headlight. Once you get this door open, there's gonna be a white clip, and I'll show you a picture of it right now. What you're gonna do is, you can't really, I turned the steering wheel to the right just so I could kind of get my head in there a little bit, but it was easier just to look in with my phone and take a picture with the flash on. And so I'll put the picture up. And so the white clip in there that you see, you need to actually just get your finger under that and pull straight out on it, or pull straight towards you, and you're going to feel a little click, and that's going to release the back of the headlight, and then we're going to get around to the bolts. So there's going to be two 10mm bolts. I've taken this valance off. I just popped the plastic bolt off right there. There's going to be two 10mm. I'll try to get you a visual on the second one. Here's the first one. And let me see if I can get a good angle on the camera. Oh. Okay. It's going to be right there. Okay. So we're going to need a couple of extensions on that. Both of these are 10 or 12mm. I will double check and get back to you. So we're going to take those two bolts out, and then very simply, hopefully, we're going to, from the back, from that little door in the back, we're just going to pop the headlight out, and hopefully it'll come right out. Whew. All right, safe to say that was a pain in the ass. Okay, so took those two bolts out, and I'll show you a little trick here as to how to get that bottom bolt back in just a second. So took these two bolts out. The real kicker here is that little ball joint, basically. That's not really a joint, but it holds this in place, and I don't know if you can see there, it goes straight into there, and it is a giant pain in the ass. So best thing to do is I just essentially grabbed it by the corner once I loosened that up and made sure that that white tab was, I pulled that white tab towards me, towards the back of the truck. It unclipped. The best thing was I just pulled on it. You can push from the inside if you're scared of scraping anything, but I couldn't really get any traction in there, so I just pulled it really, really, really hard, straight out this way, and it popped out. So obvious connectors right here. So I am going to disconnect. Oh, there are those little red things again. So we're going to clip those down and then use the regular clips to take those out. I'll be back with you when I put the new headlight in, hook it up, and then I'll show you a little trick for getting that bottom bolt all the way down in there without dropping it. Okay, so we got the headlight in. It snapped right in. You got to wiggle it around a little bit, but totally fine. The issue is when you put the top bolt in, the issue is that bolt that's down at the bottom. It took me all of those extensions to actually get it in. You have to ask yourself, okay, well, how am I going to get this bolt back in? Probably the best way that for this application, the best way to do it is just going to be to use some tape, okay? So we're going to take this. Let's get some electrical tape. And all we're going to do is we're going to take the bolt. We're going to shove it in there with the electrical tape. Bam. Just like that, okay? I'm going to see if I can get a closer view here. And I try to pull it out. It's not going to pull out. The good news is giggity. The good news is once I actually thread this in, the tape will come right out with it. But I can't pull it out by hand right now, so I'm going to go through the top with this tape in place and put it straight down into where it mounts. So that is your driving through life tip of the day. Put a little tape into the socket for the bolts that you can't actually manually screw in with your hands, and it should stay in there and it'll get the job done. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to throw that bolt in. I'm going to make sure it's all okay on top. I'm going to put that flap door in. I'm going to repeat the same process on the passenger side, and I'll give you guys a look at what the finished product is like. Okay, so one thing that I forgot to mention was the actual brand of the headlights that we're using. Honestly, they're kind of cheapies, but they look great. The brand is Purdy. Like, you got a pretty mouth. Purdy. Now, they actually ended up fitting perfectly. Here is the passenger side one. Looking great. This is one of those examples of just a kind of a cheaper mod. I don't remember, well, this was a Christmas gift, so I'm not sure exactly how much. But this is an example of a cheaper mod that just looks great. And to be honest, I'm pretty pumped that it actually fit right as well. All right, we're all done. Install is done. The headlights I think they look amazing. We turned on the truck. The headlights work just fine. They actually look a little bit brighter than before. I don't really care about that. I just like that it's a lot darker and we got rid of that chrome. So I showed you the trick with putting the bottom bolts in, putting the tape in the socket and pushing the bolt into the socket with the tape to get it down there. One thing though that really helped me out was I was actually taking the stock light out of here, and the bottom bolt fell and it went tink, 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 and didn't hit the ground, which is probably like the worst sound ever for a mechanic. So I finished taking the headlight out, and I could find it. It was like in the bumper, but one of the things that really helped me do that is one of these magnets. I'm sure you have one of these. If you don't, this is a freaking must-have in your garage. It's just a telescoping magnet. This one's really cool because I actually got this as a stocking stuffer. If you twist the head on it, giggity, the light turns on so you can see stuff like a magic wand. That's something you should definitely pick up. These headlights look great. The taillights look great. So I hope this video helped you. If it did, drop a like, drop a subscribe, do the YouTube stuff. Comment. Let me know what you're that you're out there, and you know, let me know what you'd like to see next. As you saw a little bit earlier, we do have another project coming up, but on the next episode of Driving Through Life, first and foremost, we're going to take our last Christmas present, the K&N Cold Air, and we're actually going to throw it in the truck. We're going to get our sounds on. Pretty pumped about that. Until then, be happy, do what you love, don't be a dick, and most importantly, keep on driving.